I'm Dante. I run Dante's Sports Data, where we find the most consistent players and teams across all sports every single day so you don't have to guess. Today we're going to be talking about point spreads, what they are and how to use them, and even if you know what a point spread is, there's some things in this video about how they even started in the first place and some ways you can use them to get an edge. I guarantee if you stay till the end of this video, you'll learn at least one thing that'll make you a smarter sports bettor. So what is a point spread? So the favorite is going to have minus points. The underdog is going to have plus points, and you're betting the margin of victory. You're not just betting who wins like a money line bet would be. So an example would be we have two teams. We have the Chiefs and we have the Raiders. The Chiefs are the favorite, and they're going to have a line at minus 7.5. And the Raiders, or the underdog, they're going to have a line at plus 7.5. So how do you win this bet? So if the line's minus 7.5, if the Chiefs win by 8 or more points, this bet would win. Now for the Raiders example, if the Raiders lose by 7 or less, so if they lose and they only lose by, let's say, 7 points, they're within 7, they're within plus 7.5, so this bet would win in that case. So minus is the favorite, and they have to win by more points than what's listed, and if there's a half point, 7.5, you cannot have a push, which is where you land on that number. You're either going to land lower than 7.5 or above 7.5. And in this case, if they win by 8 or more points, it's a win. They could win by 20 points. They could win by 30 points. It doesn't matter. You win if they win by more than 8 points. And same with the Raiders. The Raiders just have to lose by less than 7 points. They could win by 20 points, 30 points. It doesn't matter. They just have to not lose by this margin, which is 7.5. So 7 points or more, they have to stay within that. So they can't lose by more than that. So why do spreads even exist? So books want to get action on both teams. Big favorites scare people away off the money line prices. For example, in this Chiefs example that I just gave, the minus 7.5 for the Chiefs, that money line isn't going to be that favorable. It might be, let's say, minus 350 for that line on the money line. Instead, you can get around even odds, say minus 110 on the spread, but you're going to have to win by a certain amount of points or a certain margin. And the spread also makes underdogs much more bettable. And spreads have been around for years in order to get more action on these underdogs and sort of even that playing field. So before we even look at spreads, if you were to just take the money line on these teams in the example we have with the Chiefs and the Raiders, the Chiefs on the money line are going to have around minus 350 odds. And then if you were to bet the Raiders on the money line, aka just to win, you would get around, in this example, do plus 280. So for the Chiefs example, if you placed $350, you would have to place $350 in order to just win $100. Versus if you were to put $100 on the Raiders, you're going to get 2.8 times your money, almost 3 times your money. But then if we factor in spreads, we'd have the Chiefs minus 7.5, and the odds that you're going to get on this are around minus 110. So this is much better than up here when we're getting minus 350. But they're going to have to win by 8 or more points. Then for the Raiders, their spread's going to be plus 7.5, and those odds on that are also going to be around minus 110. So yes, you're not getting as good odds as plus 280. However, they can lose by a touchdown, 7 points, and you would still win your bet. And point spreads became a thing back in like the 1940s. So they've been around a long time in order to balance the playing field out. So how do we use spreads and even alternate spreads? So the main spread is the book's best guess at the margins. This is basically what the book thinks the margin's going to be in that game. And they're usually pretty darn close. It's crazy how close they get to these numbers. Then there are also alternative spreads, and I'll show you an example in just a second. You're trading a different number that they win or lose by, and you're going to trade that for different odds. And you can use alternate spreads to match how strong your edge is. So maybe you don't like the main line. However, you might like a spread that's a couple points off of that main line, and you can grab that for a little bit worse odds, or you can grab multiple ones on different games and pair them together for better odds. So we have our main line. We'll have the Chiefs minus 7.5, priced at minus 110. And we have the Raiders plus 7.5, also priced at minus 110. So we can take this Chiefs line -7.5 and get an alternate line at -3.5. So in that case, they only have to win by 4 or more points. But the odds on that aren't going to be as favorable. They're going to be around minus, say, 220. So you'd have to pay $220, put forward $220 in order to win $100. So it's not as favorable versus the Chiefs. If you got them at -7.5, -110, you would put down $100, you get 90 back. So our odds are a little worse, but they only have to win by 4. And these alternate lines work both ways. So you could maybe take, instead of 10.5, you could take it at -9.5. And because you're actually taking a less favorable number, you can get plus odds. So you get plus maybe 150 odds. So you bet $100, you get 150 back. And same would go with this Raiders line. So you could take this Raiders line and get an alternate line at plus 10.5. So they just need to not lose by more than 10 points. And because you're taking a more favorable number, these odds might be at -210. So you'd have to put $210 to win 100. But the alternative lines work the same way on the underdog as well. So lines +7.5, the main line, and you could maybe think that they're gonna be within 3 points. So you take +3.5. Now, because you're taking a less favorable line based on what Vegas set the number to, you're going to get better odds. So you're going to get plus 160 odds. So $100 would win you $160. So you can use this, take alternative lines if you think that you want to take a different spread than what Vegas is offering or what the sportsbooks are offering. Same as, let's say, in this example on the Chiefs, on the -3.5, let's say the main line was -3.5 and you want to make it within a field goal. A lot of times it might make sense to take -2.5 to make it within, just win by 3 points or a field goal instead of 4. Because if they win the game and only by a field goal, you're still going to lose your bet. So to recap, a spread equals the favorite. So to recap everything, with a spread, the favorite gives points and the underdog gets points. So with the underdog, when you start the game, basically you're already in the green. You're winning at the start of the game. But there's reason for spreads. They are the underdog for a reason. Vegas does not think that they are going to win that game. This was invented to make both teams bettable and balance the action for sportsbooks. So they're getting action on both sides, and both sides can seem appealing on the spread. Alternative spreads let you trade an easier number on that spread for worse odds, or you can take a harder number based on what Vegas set the spread to for better odds, so a better return on whatever bet amount you place. If this helped out, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, and let me know in the comment section what videos you would like to see or what you would like me to break down. I'm super open to new ideas, and here is another video to watch. I will see you in the next one.